some of y'all really need to hear this. Like, you, I'm talking to you. You right there who's at the club right now, getting really drunk, having sex with everybody that looks in your direction, okay? Going on every date because you're trying to convince yourself that you're over this person when you're really not. I'm talking to you right now, okay? Listen closely. What's up, you guys? It's your girl Taylor and I'm back with another video for you. Today's topic is how to get over a breakup for good. Like, this isn't like a scenario where, you know, you've broken up with somebody and you want to get back together, or you think you'll get back together. This is a scenario as in, like, this person is not my person. I do not want to go back to this person. We just do not belong together and we should never get back together. This is the video for that. So the reason I think that this video is just so important is because I feel like everybody's going to experience a major breakup within their lifetime, like a serious one where you probably don't end up back with that person. You just realize they're not your person. The relationship's not going anywhere. It's toxic. It's not where you want to be. And even then, sometimes it could be an amicable breakup, but you're still so hung up on it because a lot of the time I feel like people miss the routine of being together. A lot of times they don't even know who they are without that person. So sometimes they want to just get back to what feels familiar to them. So I do have a few tips to address those type of issues as well. But all in all, this video is just like, I'm going through a breakup and I want to get to the other side where there's happiness, where there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm happy and content by myself until I find the right person for me. So my first tip is to cut off as many ties as possible with that person. The reason I say as many ties as possible is because I do understand that some of you may have children. Maybe you're married to that person and it's not as easy to break away because you live together, you share properties together, you are bound by a piece of paper, right? You know, you have family and friends that are so intertwined because you've been together so long. So that's why I say, you know, cut off what you can cut off. So to me, that's social media. Blockity block that person, okay? Delete that person, unfriend that person on Facebook. Do what you have to do that you're not constantly reminded of the fact that you're not together anymore. You don't need to see what they're doing. They don't need to see what you're doing. Sometimes people will be super petty on social media and they'll do things to try to get under your skin because they want a reaction from you. So it's just best to cut all ties on social media if you can. And if it is a scenario where you don't live together or you don't have children together, block that person on the phone as well, or at least try not to respond to their messages, and don't reach out to them either, because when you first break up with somebody, you're going to need time to self-reflect and think without that person clouding your judgment. You need to be able to decide what you want for yourself, not what you think somebody else wants for you. Or sometimes even your friends and family, like, they'll try to put you, give you advice, and it's just, look, just block that person. Listen to your Auntie Taylor, okay? Am I old enough to be somebody's auntie? I don't know, but listen to me and just block that person, okay? I guess my next piece of advice, number 2, would be remember all of the bad times. I feel like a lot of the time people try to rewrite history. All of a sudden, this person just becomes a saint in your eyes. All of the issues that you had weren't really issues. They were things that you could overcome. They weren't that bad. But no, don't try to rewrite history. Think about the things that ultimately made you decide that you wanted to leave. How did that person make you feel? What did that person do? Do you remember that time? Like, think about those things and sit in those things, because everybody has good and bad, right? Like, nobody's just one thing. But if the bad outweighs the good, if their flaws are something that you can't live with, or maybe you're the toxic person yourself, maybe you were the bad one in the relationship, either way, you need to step back and reflect on, was this relationship really what I thought it was? Was it good for me? Was it good for the other person? Were we good together? No? Then move on. What about, maybe that person was really really financially in a great place. Maybe they paid every bill. Maybe they were nice to you, but did they gaslight you? Were they abusive? Like, you don't remember that time that he hit you or she hit you? You don't remember that time that they lied to you, they cheated on you? Focus on those things, because if those are the things that ultimately led to the demise of your relationship, you need to sit and think and marinate on those things. Stop trying to rewrite history. Stop trying to bargain and think that, oh, if he changes or if I do this or that. If it's just too far gone, if it's something beyond therapy, it's a different situation if you have two people that want to actively work and get back together. But it's entirely different if you just know that it's not going to work. It's better to just focus on the reasons why it didn't work, as to like, how can we glue this back together in peace and make some sort of relationship. And that's just never good. So my third tip is to make a conscious decision that you do not want to get back with this person, and let that be your guiding light. Okay, let that be the ultimate factor as to like why you're doing all of this work in this breakup. I do not want to get back with this person, so it is going to be hard. Sometimes I'm going to have those difficult days. Sometimes I'm going to cry myself to sleep. Sometimes I'm going to be fine, and sometimes I'm not. But ultimately, I've made the decision that I do not want to be back with this person, that I'm willing to do the work to get to the other side. And I have to just stick to that, because ultimately that's what I feel is best for me. And I'm holding on to that feeling. I'm holding on to that belief that life could be better without this person in it. Number 4, focus on who you are without that person. I feel like that's easier said than done. So many people don't even remember what life was like. And that's not to say that the other person was manipulative. They could be, that could be an issue. But when you get in a very serious relationship with that person, your lives become like very intertwined. Maybe now you might have mutual friends. You might have certain spots. Like, you ever have go through a breakup and it's hard for you to even go back to a same restaurant that you frequented with that person. It's hard to drive down, the same street that you used to live on. I've experienced that, and it's really hard. Like, there are certain parts of cities that I just can't even go to because it just brings up way too many memories for me, and I just don't want to go there emotionally. But just focusing on the fact that you had a life before this person. That, to me, I'm a very strong believer in that you really need to be a whole person before you get into a relationship. It's just a lot easier to have your own self awareness, your own sense of identity, because you can't let somebody mold you. Like, you're your own person. You have your own dreams, you have your own desires, you have your own mannerisms, you have your own goals. Like, when you get with a person, they should be in addition to your life. They shouldn't be the reason why you're alive. It's very important to have your own identity, even when you're in a relationship. You form things and habits together. You have similar values, hopefully similar beliefs and everything, and you find things that you like to do together. But ultimately, you should be able to know who you are and what you want for yourself aside from that person. And to be honest with you, I think that that's what makes relationships really cool, when people are their own person, and you can learn from each other and you can bounce ideas off of each other because you each have unique views, and maybe you grew up differently, or maybe you have different backgrounds as far as your education or your work, right? So please don't forget who you were, and who you are going to be now that you're back by yourself again. So focus on that, think about who you are, and just move on with that. Get to know yourself again. Number 5. This kind of leads into number 4, but focus on your passions and hobbies. This is probably one of the most important ones because the truth is, if you've ever gone to therapy, you can't really distract yourself from the pain because it always will catch back up with you. Until something's resolved, that problem's just always going to be there. You can redirect your energy. So that's why I say focus on your hobbies and your passions. If there is something you've always wanted to do, but like your relationship took up so much of your time that you couldn't do it, now's the time to do that thing again. Go after that promotion at your job. Work a little bit harder. Go after a dream that you kind of put on hold because your relationship took precedence and priority. There are so many things that I've picked up after breakups, like YouTube. I love doing YouTube. That's a major outlet for me. I really enjoy a lot of like home decor stuff. So I've always watched a lot of videos on that. Let's see, what else do? I do like to exercise. I do work a lot and I have a lot of fun working. So if you actually like your job, there's nothing wrong with, picking up a little more work. Like I said, don't try to distract yourself from the pain. But if you feel like you like being productive and that's what helps you, you have to do what makes you feel good and makes you feel proud of yourself. So if you want to work a little bit more, go ahead. Just don't run yourself into the ground to stay away from going home so you don't have to deal with your issues. Take dancing lessons, pick up a new hobby. Let's see, I've always loved to sing, so I'm thinking about probably taking voice lessons at some point in my life, just to get a little bit more confidence with that. But anything like that you've always wanted to pursue but you didn't think you could, or now you think you're too old, that's never the case. As long as there's still like breath in your body and you're not trying to become like a brain surgeon at like 80 years old. I don't know if they would allow that, but anything reasonable, you're not too old to pursue it. Like, any time is your time. Success is success at any age. So go for it, and go for it now. Number 6, take care of yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever that means to you. That could mean exercising, that can mean eating well, that can mean taking a little bit of a self-care day, having routines, having rituals, whatever that means to you, do it. And the reason why that's so important, because a lot of times in breakups, people can, especially like if they're sad or they're angry with themselves, or they feel like they were a major contributor to the breakup, you can really catch yourself into like a deep depression. You can start overeating and gain a lot of weight, or you can do the extreme and like not eat at all or not take care of yourself at all. Like, we've all been there where we could barely get out of bed, we could barely brush our teeth because we were in so much pain from the loss of that person and like what they meant to us. And sometimes you even feel like when a person leaves, you even lose a lot of your hopes and dreams, because a lot of your hopes and dreams involved that person, because you saw that person in your life long term. So, maybe that could be buying a house together. Now you don't think that it's going to happen because you have to do it all by yourself. Or you wanted to have children, and now you're like, well, who am I going to have the children with? Am I going to have to adopt? Like all of these things. But the truth is, if that person was really not your person, maybe you dodged a bullet, and this is like a good thing for you. So take care of yourself regardless. Whether you feel like you were the reason for the breakup or not, try to forgive yourself and be kind to yourself. Take that time to self-reflect. Take that time to just love on yourself a little bit more. Invest in yourself a little bit more. You know, what I was saying about taking up hobbies and stuff, maybe even go back to school, take up a few classes in a topic that you were interested in. Go out a little bit more. Whatever that means to you, just take care of yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally. So that kind of gets me into number 7, which is get therapy. Therapy is not as taboo of a subject as it used to be. A lot of health insurances are starting to cover therapy because mental health is like still taking care of your health. So get therapy, and it's so important, you know, especially if you feel like you contributed to the breakup in any way. It's good to be able to self-reflect and kind of grow and learn from your mistakes, and be a better person to yourself and in the next relationship, so you don't go in there with that baggage and that guilt and that shame, or just ways that you can deal. Like, you know, for instance, me, I'm an only child, so it's sometimes it's really difficult for me to realize that people were like raised a lot differently than I was, or people have a different background than I was. So sometimes I clash with other people just because I'm not used to the way that people can be sometimes. And I know that makes no sense, but like, I'm an only child, so I grew up very independent. Like, I've always tried to be a little bit more in control over my finances. I've always been taught how to like do things like at an early age. So sometimes when I see people and it's like, we're in our 20s, like we're pushing 30, like, how don't you know how to do this? And like, why don't you want to learn? So, you know, that's probably something that I deal with. And I have major trust issues because I've just been burned so many times in my life that it's really, really hard for me to break down those walls with people. And I'm not really into like horoscopes and like signs and stuff, but I'm a Virgo, so sometimes like being a little bit of a perfectionist can make me super judgmental, and I have a really hard time being empathetic sometimes, because like if I see the answer is like right there and it's like so obvious and so clear, it's like confusing to me how somebody else can't see it, right? Or like, why don't they just do it? Like, there's an obvious right and wrong here. Why don't they just do what's right? Why are they doing what's wrong? So that's something, you know, I've had to work out in therapy. I think that everybody needs that experience. Like, nobody is perfect. You really need to get down to the bottom of your issues and like to the root of them so you can change and grow. Like, if there's something about yourself that you don't like, you can change that. Don't let anybody just lead you to believe that this is who you are and you just have to deal with it. No, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing, and we're constantly learning. So if there's something that you want to change, you feel like it's not serving you, you feel like it's toxic, you feel like it's ruining your relationships, go ahead and do the work that's necessary to make yourself the person that you want to be, like the person that you want to see, to help you act the way that you want to act. Because if it's something that you really feel would be a positive change for your life, go ahead and make those changes. but sometimes we need therapy for those things. We can't just do it on our own. We need to figure out, why do I even act like this? Where is this coming from? And what can I do to get to the other side? Sometimes you just need a little bit of help, some resources, some tools, and that's all that you need. Somebody to kind of just point you in the right direction so you can grow mentally and evolve into who you really want to be. Number 8. I feel like this might be a little bit of like a repetition of something I said earlier, but I really think that we all need to enjoy our own company. We need to learn to enjoy time with ourselves. So many people have just been in and out of relationships. Like they stay single for 1 second. Like if you can't stay single for at least 6 months, like if you feel like that sounds like death to you, then there's an issue there. There's an issue there. If you can't be alone with yourself and sit by yourself for a few months, then there's a serious issue there. Like you need to focus on why you feel like you can't make it without other people. Me personally, I go on a lot of solo dates. I've been on some solo trips by myself. I do hang out with my friends a lot, but I spend a lot of time by myself. Like I go to the gym, I watch a lot of YouTube. Sometimes like I said about having rituals and routines and things like that, just knowing how that it's like if you don't have somewhere to go and somewhere to be, that's okay. Like it's perfectly fine to sit in your house by yourself, you know, minding your own business and, you know, loving yourself, okay? Go ahead and run yourself a nice bath, read a nice book, organize your closet. That's something I like to do. I go through my closet every few weeks, every few months. Put some outfits together, listen to some music, pour yourself a glass of wine. Like, doesn't that sound lovely? Doesn't that sound lovely? Just having some quiet time with yourself. You don't need to always be with somebody. You don't always need to be holding somebody's hand. You don't always need to be up under somebody. You don't always need to be doing things with other people. It's perfectly fine to enjoy some nice, quiet, solid time with yourself. Get to love yourself. Here are some of the things that I do, like alone. Like I always I'm on this constant quest to get my house together. You guys probably see that a lot in my vlogs, but create a really nice environment for yourself. You know, that really helps a lot when you're alone. There are so many things in life that you can't control, things beyond your control. Like, for instance, we went through a panorama last year. We're still kind of going through it. But a lot of people started turning to home stuff, right? They started doing some remodeling. They started making some repairs. They started moving around their furniture, ordering new furniture, all of this stuff. So having the environment for yourself, something that you can create and something that you can control, I feel like actually is super helpful. Go ahead to IKEA. If you don't have a huge budget, go ahead to IKEA, buy yourself some new furniture, buy yourself some new sheets, and just, you know, focus on what you can control. And if you can't buy anything, rearrange the furniture in your house. Like, look up feng shui. Like, try to just do anything that's going to make you enjoy your quiet time alone. Like you could even just declutter. Even cleaning your house can make a big difference in your time alone, okay? So if you can enjoy the environment that you can create for yourself, you'll definitely be able to enjoy more time by yourself. Number 9, spend quality time with friends and family. So if you can actually depend on your friends and family, like you have a good solid foundation and you have people that you can actually rely and depend on, spend time with those people. They love you. They're going to support you. They want to see you do well. So spend quality time with them. Remember, don't rely on them for everything. That's what you have therapy for, because believe it or not, listen to me very closely. Okay, I'm gonna get close in the camera. You can wear out your friends and your family with your issues. I've been through it myself, where you know, my friends, I absolutely adore them, but sometimes it's like emotionally draining, because like sometimes when I hear people's issues, I like get confused and I feel like they're my issues, and I just feel like heavy and dense and sad, because they're telling me things that are so painful and hurtful. And I feel like I've also may have relied too many times on my friends and family, whether they'll tell me or not. But I feel like sometimes it's just better to get advice and help from a qualified professional who's like a third party on the outside looking in, because sometimes those are the best people to help you. And you know, remember that your friends and family, they're only going to be able to give you advice and you know, guidance from their perspective. So keep that in mind. Not everybody is in a position to help you. Sometimes people only know what they know, and they only know what they've been through, and sometimes that may not actually be of use to you. So maybe not all the advice can actually help. So keep that in mind. It's better to try to just spend time, do things with them, make yourself available. If somebody invites you somewhere, put in a little bit of extra effort and go. Like, get out the house. Like, go be merry, go be social, and spend time with people who love you and want to see you prosper and do well. Because like I said, again, sometimes your friends and your family, they're not trained to help you with these issues. And sometimes, believe it or not, some people have been through so much trauma and pain themselves that they don't necessarily know how to help you to get to the other side, because they're still in it and going through it. All they can do is try to help you accept that this is your reality, or maybe encourage you to just stick it out, and that's like not something that you want to do. So keep that in mind. Number 10, okay? I feel like I'm almost done here. Number 10 is understand that this is a process that you have to go through. There's have you ever heard of the stages of grief? So there are 5 stages of grief. It's called the Kubler-Ross model. So in her 1969 book On Death and Dying, Kubler-Ross examined the 5 most common emotional reactions to loss: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So you don't necessarily have to go through all of these steps in this order, but you're probably gonna be going through them. And grief doesn't just apply to like something super serious like death, or what's more serious than death? You know, just loss in general, like maybe a loss of a job, loss, whatever. So I definitely feel like it applies to breakups. That's why I brought it up. So denial. Okay, is this really happening? Did this really occur? Like, am I really going through this, right? Anger. It's like now you're like, I'm not confused anymore. I'm literally angry. Like, I want to kill this person. How could they do this to me? Why, right? Bargaining, you know, thinking that there's something that you can change about yourself, or that person can change about themselves, and then all of a sudden, if you just did those things, you guys would be the perfect couple and you could get back together. So like, you know, what can I do? I'll do anything. If you do this, I'll do that. Like we can make this work. Depression, like I had mentioned, which is very obvious. Like, you're gonna be sad, like you're mourning the loss of somebody that you loved or was important to you, or just a person you were in a relationship with and you're not with them anymore, and now you're like how do I move on, right? And then one of the stages, which I feel like acceptance is really like the last stage. It's just accepting that this is your new reality and it's not going to change. Like, you have to move on. And the reason I say that you'll go through these all of these emotions multiple times, or like not in this particular order, is because that's what happened for me. Like, there were times where I was in denial, and then I would like get to acceptance. I'm like, okay, well, this is it, this is fine. And then I would be triggered by something, or I'd see something or hear something, and I'd be like, now I'm back to angry. This person is horrible. Why would they do this? Why would they uproot my life like this? Why would they do that? And then I go into bargaining, where it's like, I'm willing to change. You change. Like, it's just a never ending cycle. So that's why I say, like, you really have to understand that this is a process, and you're gonna feel a million emotions at once. And sometimes, even when you think you've gotten to the other side, something might like push you back and you take 10 steps back. Like, there's no way around it. It's not so easy. If it was that simple, we would all just flick a switch and be like, okay, I'm done with this. Next. And that's just not the way it works. Like, this, you didn't fall in love overnight, so you can't expect to fall out of love overnight. It takes time to get over somebody that meant so much to you, and you need to be kind to yourself and just understand that you're going to be going through it for some time. Like, to be honest with you, I hope this never happens to me, but there are some people who it's been years and they still can't get over something. Like, it's just too painful. It's too heartbreaking. And you don't want to be one of those people. You want to be a person that's like, okay, this did not work out, or, you know, I'm not with this person, but I have faith that I'll be able to smile again. I'll have faith that I'll be able to be in another healthy relationship at some point. I'll be able to love again for real, and I'll be able to live with my whole heart again. And I'm not going to put my past and what I've been through onto another person. I'm going to start fresh with this other person, and it's gonna be good. Like, I'm gonna have a good life. It's just okay to realize that it's gonna take time. You have to put in the work. You know, people always say like, oh, you know, time heals everything. I don't know necessarily if that's true, but I will say that time allows you the capacity to accept things and be able to just realize, like I said, this is your new normal and this is your reality and this is how it is now. So we gotta move on here. Number 11. Okay, some of y'all really need to hear this. Like, I'm talking to you right there, who's at the club right now, getting really drunk, having sex with everybody that looks in your direction, okay? Going on every date because you're trying to convince yourself that you're over this person when you're really not. I'm talking to you right now, okay? Listen closely. Do not rebound. Do not date until you feel like you are ready. Do you need to hear that again? Do not date until you feel like you are ready. Until you are healed. Until you feel like you can start from scratch with another person and not bring back the old drama, not bring back the old baggage into this new relationship, into this new thing you have going on with this new person. Do not be that asshole that blames a new man or blames a new woman for the sins of your ex-man or your ex-woman. Do not be that person. Start off, or at least try to start off with a fresh slate with everybody. I don't know why people don't do this, but think about the type of person that you want to be with. What do they do? Where do they go? How do they live their life? what kind of qualities do they have, you know? And then think about yourself. Okay, so this is the type of man that I want. Am I the type of woman that that man would want? Am I nice? Am I kind? Am I sweet? Am I hardworking? Am I into my health? Do I care about my emotional health and well-being? Think about these things. Like, who do you really want to end up with? And do you feel like that person would be worthy of you? And, you know, on the opposite end, like, do you feel that you're dating people that really deserve you? If not, then like you really should just focus on healing and focus on being a person that you even like yourself. Like I said, so many of us have lost our identities and just like forgotten who we are because we've been in a relationship so long, or that person just, whether they meant to or not, they were really manipulative and we forgot our own passions and our own dreams and stuff. Like, so focus on the fact that like you've just gone through like a major like loss, and you need to take that time to heal. You should not just go run into the next person's bed. You should not just like start dating everybody, having sex with people that you don't love or care about even. You really need to take the time to do the work and love on yourself, spend time with yourself, do things that you like to do. And then when you least expect it, that's when you're probably going to find the person who can really value you and treasure you for the person that you are, because you've already done the work and you know who you are and you know what you want from a man or a woman. Be selective, do the work in yourself, find somebody with common goals, somebody that, you know, if you always wanted to be a mom or dad, find another person that like wants to have kids and like family is important to them. If you are like really an intellectual and you're like really value a great conversation, or you're like formally educated and you want somebody else that's like super educated and smart, look for a person like that. Like, and think about where a person like that would be. Like, don't just like just give yourself away to people that aren't deserving of you. Like, who does that? Like, people that are in pain and still hurting do that. If you love yourself, you would realize like you're not for everyone. Everyone should not have access to you, and everyone should not even have access to your energy and your time. So think about who you are, value yourself, and surround yourself with other people that value you or are on your same wavelength. Do not just start dating random people to numb the pain. That's never going to work. You know, just don't date people that cannot meet like your non-negotiables. Like for me, I cannot date a person that doesn't want to travel. Like, I love traveling, I love learning new things. So if a person doesn't want to travel, that's like out to me. That's so important to me that I don't care if you've never been anywhere. If you don't ever want to go anywhere, that's not going to work for me. And don't use like you're broke as an excuse, because we can figure that out. And probably I'm not going to be dating somebody that's broke. God doesn't want that for me. God does not want me to date somebody that's broke. He already told me already. Find somebody that's on your wavelength when you were ready. And you'll know when you're ready. You'll know when you got into that point where you feel empowered and you feel like I'm there, like I can do this. I can date again. I'm healed. And don't get me wrong, you may go on a few dates thinking you're healed and you're not. It's okay to stop dating after that. Realizing you have more work to do, that's absolutely fine too. Just don't hurt people. Don't lie to people. Don't put people through all these like hoops and tricks, because somebody might be really interested in you and you might be like destroying them or hurting them for the next person. And that's not cool. So do the work on yourself, and I'm serious about that. Like, I'm drop dead serious about that. You guys, I'm at my last tip. And I think that this is number 12. Is this number this is either 11 or 12. I'm losing count. But my last tip is love yourself unapologetically. Love yourself unapologetically, unconditionally. I'm so serious about that. Forgive yourself. Focus on being the person that you want to be after a breakup, because like I said, that identity crisis, it can happen. Like, you can totally forget who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, like what you like to do even. So loving yourself, being kind to yourself, like I said, not just dating anybody that looks in your direction, exercising, being kind, like eating well, traveling, spending time with friends and family. All of these things show that you love yourself. And a person that loves themselves would not put themselves through heartbreak and like abuse. If you truly love yourself, that means that you value yourself. You see yourself as important. You see yourself as worthy. And you wouldn't go out of your way to go through like pain. So that's why I say love yourself unapologetically, unconditionally, because you're growing, you're learning, you're trying to evolve, and that takes time. But you will get there if you love yourself. And you have to love yourself before you can really love anybody else. Like, you're never going to be the best person you can be in a relationship if you don't love yourself. A person that loves themselves is not going to tolerate any type of behavior. A person that loves themselves is going to want to see other people do well, especially the person you're in a relationship. You're not a hater when you love yourself. You're able to be happy for other people. You're able to be supportive. You're able to have a positive attitude when you love yourself, because when you're all good and right within, you're like the best person. Like, literally nothing is more attractive to me than a beautiful man or like a beautiful woman that just knows who they are, knows what they want. They take care of themselves. Like, they moisturize, they exercise, they're smart, they're confident, they have standards, they have substance. Be the man or the woman that you want to be, and eventually you will attract the man or woman that you want to have in your life. I just feel like that wholeheartedly. You are the prize, and somebody's just going to find you, and it's going to be very organic. And maybe you'll find them or you'll find each other, but it's going to be organic and natural when you go out of your way to be a good person to yourself. So look, I'm no expert, I'm no relationship guru, I don't have like a degree or PhD. I'm literally just, well, I have a degree, but it's not in psychology or, I don't know, relationships. I don't know if you can get a degree in that, but I'm just telling you based on my experience and like what I've been through. I have been through so much heartache. I have been through a lot of pain. I don't even know how to describe it. I've been let down by people. I've been hurt by people that didn't even mean to hurt me. And that all just plays a toll. Like, it really does. But the thing is, I feel like every day I kind of know more and more of who I am, and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm maturing. I'm trying to be the woman that I've always wanted to be. I journal, I try to manifest things. I really try to have a positive attitude. I do have some days where I'm just a negative Nancy, but I just recognize that I'm having a day and I'm gonna start fresh tomorrow. Like, that's all I can do. But I'm always constantly challenging myself, and I'm always trying to grow, because that's what life's about, right? You know, even doing YouTube was something so far out of my comfort zone, but one day I just decided I was going to do it. And to be honest, I only have like 200 something subscribers, but I started off with like 0. So I'm getting closer to my goals. I'm having so much fun. If I had never pursued that passion of mine, I wouldn't be here. So you have to just do things that make you happy, especially after a breakup. You have to get back to, you know, who you are, what you like, what you want, and then you gotta just keep pushing forward. And every day you're gonna change a little bit, you're gonna grow a little bit more, and then one day you may not be the one who recognizes it. It may be your friends or your family, and be like, wow, like you seem so different. And they'll mean it in like a positive way. Like you seem like you got it together now. I'll never forget, like in therapy, where my therapist like tried to get rid of me. He said, I don't think you need me anymore. I think that you know what you want, and I think that you know who you are now. And I was like, are you trying to get rid of me? Like, are you trying to fire me? You don't want my money? What's going on here? And he's like, well, you know, you can keep coming, but it's just, I feel like you've made a lot of progress. And I think that that's what life is. Life is gonna always throw these curveballs at you, especially like a breakup. Sometimes you don't see it coming and it just happens, and then your world is like turned upside down. And I've never been through a breakup that involved children, so that's that probably has to be so devastating. Can you imagine how many people try to keep roughing it out and like holding on because they want to keep their family together? And that's just so hard. Like I can't really speak on that because I've never experienced that. I'm only speaking on what I've been through. But ultimately, if you're not going to be a nice person in that relationship, if it's not a healthy relationship, don't get me wrong, nobody's in love all the time 100%. Like there are going to be some times where you like don't love that person, or you can't stand that person, or that person makes you angry. But if you guys are really true friends and truly respect each other, that's still, to me, in my eyes, a good relationship. And if you're always kind of working and prioritizing each other no matter what, that's a good relationship. I've wrote down some things that I want for myself in the future. I'm standing firm on those things. But anyway, this video is way longer than I anticipated. I thought it was gonna be like a 10 or 20 minute video, but I'm like pushing really far here. But I hope that you enjoyed these things. I hope that maybe some of these things were helpful to you. I've never done a video like this before. I don't know, I feel like my friends always ask me for advice, or they call me up and tell me about their problems. And you know, I've had to lean on my friends in the past, especially before I got therapy. Now that I have therapy, it's a little bit better, but I still kind of lean on them a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you took something away from it and that you can grow and evolve. Like, sis, bro, you can make it through this. It's a breakup, but it's not the end. Like, there will be so much more love, so much more laughter, so much more happiness for you. And you just gotta push forward. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl. Testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. Yes, yes, yes. Guess who's on third? Lupe still like Lupe in the third. Here like ear till I'm bitter on the curb. Peach fuzz buzz, but bitter on the verge. Let's slow it down like we're on the serve. Bottle shaped body like Mrs. Butter.